Have you never heard or seen League of Legends? The only person who would ask why is League of Legends a bad idea is someone who's never heard of or seen League of Legends before. Because if you play League of Legends, or if you know League of Legends, if you even heard of League of Legends, you'll understand why it's a bad idea. That's like if you hear those commercials come up, if you or someone you know has been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, you may apply for a class action lawsuit. That's League of Legends. If you or someone you know has ever played League of Legends, holy fuck, that's bad. It's the same shit. Work, school, child, PS5, keep it that way. Keep it that way. Never learn what League is. Thunder's viewers will drop by half. Honestly, I'd be thrilled if my viewers got cut in half from now and stayed that way at League. I'm back from my slumber, I heard League. Also, whoever's making fun of Jungle Garen, he's fun. He's not great, but he's fun. He doesn't have any CC, but you run Predator on him, and you build attack damage. And if you go Blue Smite, now you're the fastest motherfucker who ever lived, right? And you have something that's, gets you free if you get slowed. Plus you're full AD, so you show up to gank somebody, hit them with a fucking Q, spin on their bitch ass, ult them, they blow up. I will leave if you play League in solidarity. Hold on, well, don't do that. I played League tutorial in a few matches, never went back to it, don't know what's wrong with it. If you don't know what League is and haven't touched it, stay pure. Stay pure. Keep your health. Keep your mental. Like people making fun of mage builds on soul games because it's easier. It's the opposite. Because in League, it's a 5v5, so I have teammates. So when I play League, it's going to be people not making fun of, getting mad at me because I'm playing a character that's harder in the role I'm playing him in. And they, like, why would you do that? We're trying to win the game. Only download a League to try TFT. That's fair. TFT is okay. If you download League to only play TFT, you're still in the clear. Have I watched the Daredevil show? I was watching Daredevil. I was in the middle of watching Daredevil when I got taken off Netflix. I actually want to pick it back up. I think I just started season 2. I was like barely into season 2 when I got removed from Netflix. Anyway, chat, that was my bad idea. And that's why I'm afraid to do it. Because I'm pretty sure 150 viewers would immediately just blow up off the face of the earth the second that I kicked over to the League category. I actually looked to see if Matt was playing it. Because Matt talked about maybe wanting to run some games, but at the time Matt talked about wanting to run some games, he was super hammered, so you never know if he A, remembered it, or B, meant it, so... No, allegedly. I watched Daredevil when it was coming out, too. I was going for a rewatch. To be fair. I like where your head's at, but not in this case. See, we voted League. To be fair, chat did vote League. I tried to warn them on multiple occasions, but chat voted League. I join you in one bad decision. I'm going to grab a beer. There you go. I don't drink very often anymore. I'm drinking today, I'm drinking tomorrow, and then I'm back off this stuff again. Because it's really hard to continue losing weight while also drinking as heavily as I was, so we're laying off it for a while. I'm a proponent of the magic school bus. Let's get messy and make some mistakes. I saw a meme. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Song's a banger alert. Ba-da-ba. Pretty much confirms Miss Frizzle did steroids. I know she also had magic, so maybe it was magic, but I'm pretty sure it was just steroids. A narrow grip bench press with no arch, 485? Are you kidding me? She didn't even need a spotter because she knew it was free. Or cocaine, it was the 80s. I dated a chick that was super heavily into World of Warcraft. Did she know you existed? I'm pretty sure this is in a very hypothetical sense because obviously don't do this as fucked up. But if you were to just randomly walk, like you lived in the Pokemon world, right? You were to randomly walk into someone's house and it was just a girl playing World of Warcraft. You could literally be like, hey, you're my girlfriend. And you might get like an out of her. And then she'd keep playing World of Warcraft for 14 hours a day. And then go to sleep and wake up and go right back to Warcraft because that's what Warcraft players do as far as as far as I know. Like, you could literally just claim, like, hey, this person's my girlfriend, and then, like, lean over and take some selfies, and then everyone would be like, yeah, that's your girl. Could you bring her outside sometimes? You'd be like, well, she doesn't really leave the computer much. She goes to another school or whatever. Was that a Zero Gravity episode? Oh, don't bring facts into this. You're fucking up my steroid joke that I didn't make. Somebody else did. I didn't watch enough Magic. Honestly, my only exposure... I never watched Magic School Bus in my free time. They would sometimes show Magic School Bus in the classroom. On days where we had to... Oh my god, no, hold on. If we want to circle back real quick to old stuff. You remember when we were talking about dial-up and shit like that? Holy fuck. Nah, back in the day... Hold on. Nah. Back in the day, if you walked up to your class and you saw this bad boy sitting out front, you knew you were in for a good fucking day. Holy shit. If you were on your way to class and you saw this thing sitting out there, you were like, teacher's sick today. There's a sub, and they're showing us fucking movies. Let's go. You'd get in there, do a little roll call, watch a movie in the morning, go outside, have a little bit longer recess than normal because it's a sub, come back in, maybe finish your movie or have free time until lunch period hit. Lunch hits, you come back, you watch another fucking movie. Go home. Ooh, this bad boy was the savior. Break out the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. That was the other shit that happened during free time. Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. For a while, my school was into collecting and trading Hot Wheels. I was never really into that one. The rainbow tint thing. Beyblade. We didn't really Beyblade, but I'm older than you, so. Or Beyblade was for dorks. If you played Bakugan, you're too young. And you also played a bad game, so. Flash watched a bad show. It's fine. Did we get the actual... Yeah. So, movie projectors, for the most part, we did. For the most part, my grade school didn't really have that many. Or we only had, like, one projector. That was also a wheel projector from room to room. Projectors showed up more for me in middle school and high school when I transferred to a public school. We had a Bakugan phase that lasted a couple months tops. That tells me that you're young, but at least your class was kind of smart because they didn't hang out in Bakugan very often because they realized how dumb it was. But a Game Boy Color, oh my god. I was like the only kid in the school. My mom would not let me take my Game Boy to school. She's like, you're going there to learn, fucko. What the fuck do you need a Game Boy for? But like all my friends would have one. So if there was ever free time or like before the day started, before like our morning assembly happened, kids would be playing their Game Boys, I'd be so jealous. I'd just be sitting there seething. I snuck it in. I should have. I should have started just throwing it in my backpack. Taking it with me. I wouldn't have got caught. Like, it would have been fine. Bionicles. Okay, we did pop off with Bionicles for a while. Yellow and silver still had me a chokehold. I replay Crystal a lot to this day. Actually, I didn't have Crystal back in the day. I have Crystal now because of ROMs. But back in the day, I had red, blue, and yellow. And I had gold and silver. And then I had Ruby. This was me slowly tapering off Pokemon. And then I got only Ruby. And Ruby was okay. And then I didn't get a DS when a DS came out. So I didn't get any Pokemon after that. I kind of grew out of it. I mean, I was hitting middle school, high school. Plus, middle school, high school was a much harsher land. Like, if you whipped out your Game Boy in middle school, high school, and you started playing Pokemon, you were a Giga virgin, and you would be forever. So I've told this story before, but it's like, really loved Pokemon growing up, right? Going through grade school. You get to middle school, high school, I changed to a public school. You can't do that shit anymore. You kind of grow out of it and grow into other stuff. Spend a lot of time making fun of kids who play Pokemon. And then right after high school, like, I basically spent all of high school just... Not all of high school. I wasn't like a bully necessarily, but if the occasion arose... But a good chunk of high school making fun of kids who did nerdy shit and played Pokemon or whatever. And then I got into college. And my first year in college, my roommate and I found out that like websites existed that A, you could watch Dragon Ball Z on for free, and B, you could download ROMs of old games. So we started watching Dragon Ball and playing Pokemon again. Go figure. That weird point where you had to hide your nerdom because you wanted girls. I want to say I was hiding it, but I really wasn't. I genuinely didn't watch or read or play Pokemon during that era. I played a lot of Call of Duty. Which is like, if you were like, you know, if you were the guy who played a cool video game, it was Call of Duty at that time. It wasn't like intentional, it just sort of happened. Because you're like, okay, I guess I'm over that now. And we're doing this. Hey, what up, Kid Vision? Well, I played a shit ton of COD and Madden. I mean, the sports games, you know, the regulars. I dabbled a little bit in, like, I played Fallout New Vegas. I played Mirror's Edge. Love Mirror's Edge. Played Oblivion. So, like, I started Uncharted and Assassin's Creed. Like, I didn't only play COD, but 95% of what I played was COD. And I played a shit ton of COD. That was days that there weren't parties or anything going on. That was my free time. I had the PS3 booted up. I was playing Call of Duty. But like I said, you get away from the nerdy stuff through high school, and then as soon as high school's over, my buddy and I fell right back into the nerdy shit. We immediately played through... I played through Fire Red. When I finished Fire Red, it was actually my first time playing Fire Red. I played through Leaf Green, because I had so much fun, I just played through Leaf Green. I think I got a Crystal ROM and ran through that. And then I started downloading, and then I found out ROM hacks existed. So there was Lightning Yellow, which is like a yellow remake in Fire Red, and then there was Liquid Crystal, which is a Crystal remake in Fire Red. I played both those. I was having time of my fucking life, being a dork again. Favorite COD? There are wrong answers. In order at the time I played them, COD 4, and then Modern Warfare 2, and then Black Ops 2. Those three. And then maybe Black Ops 1, honestly. I shouldn't a lot of the time. My best KD, my best kill-death ratio was in Black Ops 1. Black Ops 1 actually favored you if you were a rush-heavy guy. If you were rush-heavy, that was about the only game ever where you were actually favored if you ran in and shot and killed, because it was a slow time to kill in that game. So better shot won, typically, even with the lag. And snipers also kind of sucked. Snipers actually were perfectly balanced in Black Ops 1, according to me. I love the way snipers are balanced in that game, because you couldn't really quickscope. You actually had to play like a sniper. You had to sit there, aim down, someone came into your sights, shoot them. Then it'll kill if you hit a good shot. After Black Ops, I kind of fell off. If I could change anything about you falling off, allegedly, I would have said you should have stuck it out till Black Ops 2, because Black Ops 2 was goated. I also played quite a bit of Modern Warfare 3 until I got... I didn't get banned. I had my account, like, reset. There was a glitch you could do by accident. I didn't do it by accident. I did it on purpose. But there was a glitch you could easily do by accident that would have... You would have got a bunch of extra tokens. And I kind of did it a lot. And they kind of caught us in a bot wave. But they didn't just reset your account to 0. They gave me negative 1,000 deaths and negative 100 losses. Or something like that. Negative 10,000 deaths and negative 1,000 losses. So your kill death and win-loss ratio are permanently fucked. And I was like, alright, well, fuck this game. And I put it down forever. What up, Roscoe? But aside from that, I was actually having a lot of fun with Modern Warfare 3. I don't think it was as good as 4 or Modern Warfare 2. You did it allegedly. COD years were good years. I met a lot of friends on there, which I'm not in contact with them still. But my buddy who got me hooked on COD is. My best friend in the town I lived in, through middle school, high school, literally lived half a block away from me. I could walk to his house in a minute, 2 minutes. And we did a lot of shit together. And he turned me on to Call of Duty. And he had Call of Duty 3 for the PS2, and I had Call of Duty 3 for the PS3. But he was in, like, one of the top clans in Call of Duty. So when they moved from PS2 to PS3, when COD 4 came out, I just played with him a lot. And I never officially had a tryout for the clan, but then one day the leader was like, why don't you have our clan tag on? And I was like, I mean, I'm not officially in it. And he's like, well, you're in it now. Put the fucking thing on. So for a while, I was running in the group that was like, it was a top PlayStation group. I guess Xbox 360 was probably bigger than PS3 in that time, but that was a top PlayStation group for Call of Duty I was running with for a while. And like I said, I don't still keep up with those guys, but my buddy does. So if I ever want to talk to him, there were some chill dudes in there. Anyone else know about the Secret Saturdays game for PS2? What's that? NFL Street? I never had NFL Street, but it was either Madden 04 or Madden 05. This is back when games had demos in them still. Like in the extras. You guys remember extras menu in video games? Tony Hawk would have them a lot, but if you go into the extras menu in one of the old Maddens, there'd be an NFL Street demo. And then you could boot up and play like a quarter of NFL Street with 2 teams. And I did that a lot because NFL Street looked fun as hell, but I never actually owned the game. Have a good night, Devin Rosa. Appreciate you. Take it easy. Secret Saturdays was a show, but not a game? I mean, you can Google it, probably find it out. Still rep my PS3 clan War. War exclamation point. There was either a fuck ton of you guys, or there's a lot of people who went with the War clan. Like a lot of different clans who went with the War clan. The group I was in, it was WMD and then a tiny X at the end. WMD and then a little X at the end. But the WMD was all caps. My neck hurting after Walmart demos. That's another throwback. Playing the fucking game on the TV up there. Any of you guys now play, is it Warzone? Aren't there 2 of them? Warzone and something else. Call of Duty that are out right now that are kind of like the things. You guys play that? Vanguard's the current one. Is Vanguard still a BR? Or is Vanguard just... the regular multiplayer. Sonic Mega Collection Plus on PS3 went crazy. Or, well, I guess it wasn't Sonic. It was Sega Genesis. Sega Genesis had a collection. Vanguard is multi and zombies. Okay, so if you want to play BR, you have to go back to Warzone then. Is Warzone free? I have friends who hop on that. I've toyed around with the idea because I'm pretty sure it's fully crossplay now. So I've toyed around with the idea of hopping on it, but it would probably not go well. I haven't played a real solid first-person shooter in years. Not on controller, at least. I mean, I played Valorant for a while, but I was never good at that. Never wore the shit in Valo. I have to go to the bathroom. Let me go to the bathroom, grab a drink. I will come back. We will either keep shooting the shit, or y'all better hope we keep fucking topics up. If y'all don't keep up with the topics, it's fucking League of Legends time. Do you really want that? I'll be right back. GoldenEye? What did we kick to? Did we kick the N64 classics? Or just old games in general? I'll tell y'all the first game I ever played. I was 2 years old. And my grandma had an old Sega Genesis. Because my uncles used to play it when they came over. So anytime I go over to technically my great-grandma's house. They had the Sega Genesis in the basement. And I guess when I was 2 years old, I could beat the first level of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Which is not that impressive because it's mostly holding right. But yeah. Apparently without help, at 2 years old, I was able to complete the first level, you know, Green Hill Zone Act 1 of Sonic 2. Rayman and Spyro, I thought those graphics were it. I mean, at the time they were. I wasn't quite old enough to understand it when it happened. But for anybody who was like barely older than me and more, I'm talking like 2 years older than me or more. When Mario went 3D on the N64, that was like the first, holy shit, these graphics are crazy. Because it was 3D. It was the first real 3D. WWF No Mercy. Everyone remembers No Mercy. I spent more time on WCW versus NWO was the one I played a lot. I played that one a lot. I'm trying to remember games I looked at where I went, oh my god, these graphics are so good. Probably PS2 stuff. I remember going in with my buddy and pointing out the difference between Call of Duty 3 on the PS2, which he had, and Call of Duty 3 on the PS3, which I had. And noting how good those graphics are. Star Fox came with the N64, which I'm glad it did, because that game kicked ass. DK64. I want DK64 remade, or I want a mod. I wonder if anybody's modded a ROM yet of DK64 that just lets you change Kongs on the fly. I bet Donkey Kong 64 instantly... It's not like a bad game as is, but I bet that game instantly gets 30 times better if you just get a mod that lets you change Kongs on the fly. Do a double roll. It's barrel roll. Do a barrel roll. I beat that game a lot. I played the shit out of Star Fox. 64. I didn't actually know there was a Star Fox on the SNES before 64. Until recently. Four-player those wrestling games? We didn't four-player the wrestling games very often, but when the PlayStation 2 games came out, we're talking SmackDown Shut Your Mouth and SmackDown Here Comes the Pain kind of stuff. The PS2 naturally only had 2 controller plug-in slots. But you could buy an adapter that would hog up one of the controller spots, and in exchange, it had a box where you could plug 4 more controllers into it. So I remember we used to do that on the PS2 games, and it actually worked. It didn't work for most games, but it actually worked for the wrestling games. So we could have, in our case it would be 5, but it would at least be 4. We could have 4 players. Or 5, I guess, up to 5 players playing those wrestling games, and that was fun when we had friends over. I remember that. With a Game Shark. Oh man, Game Sharks used to be the shit. Game Sharks was modding before modding existed. I don't actually know how Game Sharks did it. Those were always badass. Game Sharks and Action Replay. I didn't have any, but I could borrow some from friends sometimes. I just didn't know what to do with them. I think Halo was the first time I was like, with the graphics. It wasn't the first time, but I still think the most wowed I've ever been by graphics was when the opening cutscene when I very first played Uncharted 2. Uncharted 2 was the first game where like PS3 showed up and it obviously stepped its graphics game up, and you saw that. And Uncharted 1 came out, Assassin's Creed, you know, so on and so forth. There were some games out, you know, Oblivion's not great on graphics, but you know what I mean. But Uncharted 2, that was the right company with the right amount of money at a time when it was perfect for PS3 to start hitting its peak for graphics. You know, like not in the middle of its life cycle, but like around there. And when I watched the opening cutscene, when I was playing the opening cutscene for Uncharted 3, I think I had the, you know, the right TV settings on and all that, and you know, I don't know if we just upgraded TVs or what, but had all that shit in HD, and I was looking at when you're climbing as Drake up the train that you're hanging off of, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And I swore that was the best game I'd seen visually until a little bit into the PS4's life cycle, if I remember right. Uncharted 2 just looked really, really clean for the time. Prince of Persia was a classic next-gen game. Didn't Prince of Prince of Persia people and Assassin's Creed people were the same people, right? Or if they weren't the same people, Assassin's Creed just borrowed a lot from them. If I ever had an action replay, I think the number one thing I would have tried to use it for would have been Chao Garden. Pretty sure you could hack Chao Garden. Either Chao Garden or the Chao Garden on the Game Boy. There was Sonic Advance, which had a Chao World in it, I guess, that I never had. My Game Boys, I told you guys this before, but I've never been a handheld guy, ever. Like, I've tried to make mobile games work, and with the exception of Magikarp Jump, I really don't play mobile games. You know, I mean, you know me, I tried Dokkan, I tried Legends, but I don't like playing those. Those are kind of just for summons. But that's been true since I was a kid. Like, I played Pokemon because it's fucking Pokemon. And I tried to play, I think I had Spyro Season of Ice on the Game Boy Advance. I had Wario Land 4, which was okay. I played that a little bit. And then I had F-Zero Grand Prix. And those were mostly the only handheld games I was playing, like, ever. I don't even think I had another game for my Game Boy Color that wasn't Pokemon. Remember when Digimon was loved as much as Pokemon? No, because that never happened. But there was a time when it was a lot closer than it is now. No Zelda games? No. My grandma, one of my grandmas had Zelda 2 for the original Nintendo, which I played sometimes, and another grandma who did not break out her Super Nintendo very often ever, so I rarely played it, had I think it was Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. I think it was Link to the Past on her Super Nintendo, so I very briefly touched that one. I played Zelda 2 a lot more, but I very briefly touched Link to the Past. Other than that, when I played Breath of the Wild, like last year, that was my first Zelda game, really. Oh, and I borrowed Twilight Princess from my friend who really liked it. My friend who did not play video games, hardly at all, played Zelda Twilight Princess as a single-player game, which is another thing he didn't do. He didn't play single-player games. And he liked it. And he liked it so much he told me about it, and then he let me borrow it, and I borrowed it, and I was fucking bored to tears playing the beginning of Zelda Twilight Princess on the Wii, so I didn't finish it. I gave it back. So for the most part, Breath of the Wild is my first Zelda game. Oh, you know what Digimon thing I did have? How many of you boomers out there saw or had a, there was actually a Digimon, like, pocket hookup. And you were supposed to put it on your, it had a clip. It was a tiny thing. It was just a little fucking digital thing you held. It had a screen on it that showed your Digimon or whatever. The egg, was it an egg? I don't know if it was an egg. It had a pocket clip because you were supposed to walk around with it. It was kind of like a Tamagotchi, but it was Digimon. You were supposed to walk around with it. And then it was almost the first Pokemon Go. And then periodically, after so many steps, and it was a lot of steps. It wasn't like quick. It wasn't like frequent. It was like if you walked around for an hour, you might see 3 in an hour. If you were lucky. It would beep at you. And then when it beeped at you, there was another Digimon there. And you could battle it, I think try to catch it, or try to level up. And I remember, I don't think any of us really knew how it worked or what buttons to press. We just had it and played it a lot. But we brought it to school. And the idea is that you were supposed to walk around with it, right? But we're in school, so we're in class all the time until recess hits or lunch. So what would happen is we have to sit there and obviously not play with it because we're in class during class hours. But then when recess or lunch is up, you just have a bunch of, like there was just a group of us who would just sit over in the corner, just doing this with our digi thing, making it take steps. We're just over here fucking the first shake weight, just fucking hamming it up. Just tearing it up over here, just waiting for our shit to beep. So that way the thing would go off and we could have a battle. My friends were a lot further along in it than I was, because A, I wasn't that interested in Digimon, but B, I never figured out how to work the thing, or like what buttons I should press, and I think my Digimon lost a lot of battles. But yeah. Teachers, kids, anybody would look over, there'd just be a group of like 5 of us just sitting there fucking with the thing in the corner. Having an 8 megabyte memory card and thinking that had so much space. No, the 8s came standard. The 8s were the ones that couldn't hold shit. Everybody knew they couldn't hold shit. You had to spring for the 32s. My brother and I had this really bitchin' memory card. It was one of the 32 gig memory cards. It was yellow, but it had like 3 or 4 black stripes on it and a black circle. Coolest looking memory card ever, and it held anything. They actually started selling them again. I would unironically pick one up. I would want to buy a device that would sit here and shake it for me on stream. And then I just grab it when it popped off. But I would unironically pick one up if they were making them again. Memory cards were such a scam? How you figure? I don't know if you were around before then or not. But before memory cards, you just couldn't save your game. Before memory cards, you had 2 options. Either A, beat the entire game in one sitting. Or B, the game would give you a random, not a randomized, but an almost randomized code where every number and letter was dedicated to something. So you either A, had to beat the whole game, because back in the day, they would make games, if you were decent at them and knew what you were doing, they would make games an hour, 2 hours max to beat. If you didn't know what you were doing, it was a lot longer. But that way it was possible in one sitting. And the idea was that these games were also a lot harder. You know, you have 3 lives, you die 3 times. You don't just keep going. You have to start over at the very beginning of the game with nothing. However, some games, I think Metroid was one of them, had a save feature where, let's say you have 2 item slots. If you had a gun in item A and a bomb in item slot B, and those were the 2 items you chose to carry around, then when you hit to save your game, the game would save your location with like a 1. You'd get a randomized code, basically, and it would be like, your location is a 1, you have a gun in item slot A, that's a Z, it would be 1Z, you have a bomb in item slot 2, that's a B, so 1ZB, you've unlocked this thing, and this thing, and this thing, so that's CDF, those are the things you've unlocked, but you haven't unlocked this, this, or this, so that's 000. And you would get a code with just all those letters and numbers. And then you would have to write that code down on a pen and paper somewhere, and put it next to your Nintendo. And then that way you could turn the system off, leave and come back, and then when you clicked load game, you would type that code back in. And the game it's not remembering what you did before, it just knows that if you input that code, you'll start with those items in that location with those things done. So online didn't exist, but hypothetically, if you had a friend who was right at the very end of a game, he saved his game, he got a code, he could call you or whatever, give you his code, and then you could punch that in, and then you would have his exact game save. But that's how they got by with that before memory cards existed. Nintendos were weird though. I don't know where the Nintendo saved its game at, because Nintendo does have game saves. I don't know if they did. I don't think they did that in cartridge. I think there's literally a memory pack in the Nintendo, but it never ran out ever. You could play 100 games on there and never run out of memory. I do remember for Donkey Kong, if you bought Donkey Kong, you had to buy a different memory pack. It's that weird. It was in the front of the N64. And you had to pull out the one little black cartridge and put another one in that had a red top on it. I don't remember what that was exactly. An expansion pack? Nintendo had battery saves? That's like Game Boys, right? Game Boy battery saves? On Pokemon, at least? I was too poor for a memory card, so I remember getting in fights with my little cousin. When my little cousin would jump and freeze the game that was on the floor. Yeah, or you had to leave the game on for several days in a row. Zelda had a battery save? No, the first one? You might be right, actually. The first and maybe second Zelda games on the original Nintendo did have battery saves. Because my uncle had a file and I would use it. I would put on a different file. Yeah, on the OG Nintendo. You're right. So they were around before that. It was just, I guess, tricky or weird to pull off. I don't know. Those days when you would leave your game running to do something else and then your parents would walk in and turn something off, not knowing what they were doing, yeah. Add batteries in the SNES. Yeah, for Mario. And yeah, that all makes sense. Yeah, for Mario, for Super Mario Bros. 3, sure that existed by Super Mario Bros. 3. We have had one big ass nostalgic stream. From Total Drama Island to all this shit. Rip will actually have a decent upload out of this. That'll be nice. Transformers on PS2? I did not have it. Okay. While we're still hanging out with nostalgia and old shit and internet and whatever. Did any of you guys ever play any games on CartoonNetwork.com? I don't want to get into all the Flash games and everything because there's a fuck ton of them. But did any of you guys, me on my dial-up internet, would boot up CartoonNetwork.com? I'm trying to remember some of the games I ran on there, and off the top of my head, I can only remember one. I was not into Gundam, okay? Growing up, just never really watched Gundam. However, there was a Gundam game on the Cartoon Network website, and it was almost like Gundam chess. Oh my god, water trash, yes! Water trash is just typing it out. Water trash! The fucking Gundam chess. It wasn't chess, but it was kind of Gundam chess. It was a Gundam board game. And I don't know why. That's the one I always went back to. And Dragon Ball, yes, the Dragon Ball one too, but I would get my ass kicked in that game a lot. But for some reason, my staple game was I was booting up the Gundam chess game, and I was going to play through that. I don't know why. Strategy DBZ. Was it a Scooby-Doo game? There was some game where you walked around outside of like a haunted mansion through some hedge mazes. Shit. Ed and Eddie one slapped. I don't remember most of them. I know there was a Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends game. I don't remember what the gameplay was like. I don't remember most of what the gameplay was like except the Gundam one. I don't know why I was so hung up on that. I remember the Samurai Jack game, and I know I played it. Don't remember what happened in it. Don't remember what the gameplay was. They did. They had a game for almost every show. I completely, yeah. I'd be halfway through my Gundam games, and then the phone would ring at the house, or my mom would make a call or something, and then my game would cut out, and I wouldn't be able to play. I'd be like, ah, fuck. But I was doing that basically not long before I discovered RuneScape existed, and then my life was over. Okay. Not a Cartoon Network website game. I don't think it was. I got a computer game from my great-grandma's house. It was one of the only PC games I played growing up. There were two of them. One of them, which I played a lot more, there was a Dexter's Laboratory game for PC. And I just remember there were sections with puzzles where you would have to, like, place a fan in a spot to make the wind blow to knock this thing over to that thing, and then this would send an electrical current up. And you would have to set the currents so they went to the right places to get to the end of the puzzle. That was like the whole point of that. And then there was another one that was I think it was Atlantis. It was based on the Atlantis movie. I think Atlantis was Disney. I don't know if Atlantis is Disney, Pixar, or whatever, but it was based on the Atlantis movie. And I think I had that PC game also. Hey, what up, Weeb? We were going down nostalgia lane. played that Dexter game. Hey, well, as long as one guy knows what I'm talking about. As long as one guy also lived that, that's a fucking dub. Gundam Wing Salt game. I don't think you can play it anymore. Oh, wait, hold on. Flashpoint may have it archived. I have to download Flashpoint. Fuck. I'll look into that. That's ear piercing. This isn't the version I remember. Maybe I played this? I think I played the updated version of this. So the game I played, like, it was this style, but I definitely played a version on Cartoon Network with updated graphics. Like, the graphics on this game were better. But yeah, you just kind of send your Gundams out, and then you throw it in, and then it's kind of a rock, paper, scissors thing. And then you essentially play rock, paper, scissors, except you have health. So if you have 5 HP, and you can get it wrong a couple times. And most of these minions only have 1 or 2 HP. So, I mean, this is the gameplay, but I'm pretty sure the version that I played had updated graphics. It wasn't this old. I completely forgot it was rock, paper, scissors. When cell phones started getting popular, the only games I had were Snake and like Tetris, right? I was one of the first people in my class to get a cell phone because my household got rid of landlines early, and my mom was, you know, single mom at the time, and she was gone a lot for work, so she always wanted a way to contact me and my brother if she could. So my brother and I actually got cell phones really early for our age at the time. Back in the day, 12-year-olds didn't typically have cell phones. Most people didn't get cell phones till they were like 16, 18 when I was growing up. So I was one of the first kids in my group to get a cell phone, which is fucking pointless other than to call your mom because none of your friends have cell phones. So what are you going to do with it other than play Snake on it? Which I was a Snake fiend, so, you know, go figure. But Virgin Mobile Razor combo. I never had a Razor. I had the Nokia brick phones. I had the Nokia brick phones until eventually I upgraded to a BlackBerry. And I stuck with BlackBerry for a while. I didn't look back from BlackBerry. I think I literally went from BlackBerry to the Samsung Galaxies. I actually loved, man, BlackBerry's still a company. I actually fucking loved my BlackBerry phones. I miss those. I miss those a lot. My buddy had a Razor, which I always thought was funny. Like, the Razor he had was cool, but I just remember the guy's name. We're going to call him Jerry. I don't want to out him. So my friend Jerry had a Razor, and the only reason the story sticks to me is because he had a password on his phone. So I grabbed his phone, and I was hanging out with 2 friends. It was Jerry and another guy. And the other guy was like, hey, Jerry, you know, Austin's playing with your phone. And Jerry's like, oh, it's fine. I have a password on it. He can't get it anyway. So I'm like, I'll guess the password. And I just typed in his name. I typed in his own fucking name. And I got in. And I was like, your password was your own name. And I'm like clicking around. He's like, wait, give it back. But I was like, I don't know. That was always a funny moment to me. He changed it after that, and I didn't get in again. But it was just... The guy's name wasn't Jerry. He had a 4-letter name. And I was just like, one, boop, 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 enter. Oh, look, I got in. How I cracked the code. BlackBerry still exists. It's a cybersecurity company now, so they don't make cell phones anymore. The guy's name wasn't Jerry. I changed his name for, Don't guess his fucking name. You're not going to get it. Do not guess his name. I changed his name for security purposes that probably don't matter. It wouldn't matter if you knew his name or not. I think we're all right, TBH? Something like that. Dotto, yeah. Yeah, the guy's name was... Yeah, you got me. You got me. The guy's name was Dotto. Was it R9? No, R9's name is Colton. And I'm only comfortable saying that because if you find his public page, you could see that his name is Colton. This was my friends in the... So I lived in a small town that was a town over from the town of the school I went to, where most of the people in my school lived. Me and about 3 to 5 other guys, depending on who you're counting, lived in the small town over. So this was me and my core smaller town group of friends. It would be a shame if we found this guy and his password was his name again. Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's not still rocking the Razor phone. Or the password of his own first name, but what do I know? I did know R9 at the time, Mark Leo. I've known R9 since